Welcome back to Anfield Wire, your home for the latest Liverpool news, transfer updates and inside stories from Anfield. In today's video, we're covering huge updates, including the latest on Trent Alexander-Arnold's Real Madrid situation, contract news involving Ibrahima Konate and Dominik Szoboszlai, Liverpool's plan for a potential Mohamed Salah successor, and the growing injury concerns for Arne Slot's squad. Before we get into it, make sure you subscribe to Anfield Wire and turn on notifications so you never miss any Liverpool updates. Now let's get straight into the news. Raheem Sterling's career hits new low as ex-Liverpool star learns transfer fate. Raheem Sterling transfer latest. The former Liverpool and Chelsea winger faces an uncertain future at Feyenoord after reportedly being left out of their Eredivisie squad against NEC Nijmegen. With a summer exit now looking likely, Raheem Sterling's stint at Feyenoord will reportedly not be prolonged beyond the current campaign. The winger joined Feyenoord in February after departing Chelsea. However, the former Liverpool player has yet to make his mark in his new environment, with uncertainty surrounding his future once more. He faced severe criticism from the Dutch press after a 0-0 stalemate with FC Volendam earlier this month. He has also caused frustration for manager Robin van Persie after substituting Sterling during the draw with Ajax last month. The former Manchester United and Arsenal striker remarked, "Those two worlds need to align sooner rather than later. We are working on that, where the most important thing is winning matches during this period of Raheem getting fitter and fitter." So I do respect and acknowledge where he is coming from, but at the same time, we have to deliver as a club. We have to end up second, as simple as that. I believe that he's making steps in terms of fitness, in terms of what he delivers. At the same time, I want to see more impact off the ball, more impact on the ball. It appears that Van Persie's patience has now been exhausted. Following 4 consecutive league starts, Sterling found himself amongst the substitutes for the Eredivisie stalemate against NEC Nijmegen and failed to feature at all. He was replaced in the lineup by Tobias van den Elschaat, with the Dutch press suggesting that he is making his presence felt. It's reported that a decision has already been taken not to prolong Sterling's contract past the summer. Feyenoord presently occupies second spot in Eredivisie, but trail leaders PSV Eindhoven by 19 points. The club returned to action on Saturday when they welcomed Groningen. Discussing his switch to Feyenoord, Sterling said, "As a free agent, I've had, for the first time in a long time, the opportunity to control the next step in my career. I wanted to take my time to speak with clubs and their head coaches to better understand the role they envisioned for me and ensure that I can add real value in this next chapter. Having spoken in great detail with Robin, I'm confident that Feyenoord is a place I can be happy and establish myself as a valued member of the team. Playing abroad is a whole new challenge for me and one I'm ready to embrace. Honestly, I'm just excited to get started. To Feyenoord, thank you for your patience and professionalism as I navigated this process." Trent Alexander-Arnold agreement reached as Spanish media issue brutal Real Madrid verdict. Trent Alexander-Arnold left Liverpool to join Real Madrid last summer, but the Spanish media have issued a brutal verdict on his debut campaign in La Liga with Los Blancos, now 9 points behind Barcelona in the La Liga standings, and having been knocked out of the Champions League by Bayern Munich. It appears that Trent Alexander-Arnold's first season with Real Madrid will be trophyless, leaving Liverpool to try something new. Alexander-Arnold departed before the expiry of his contract to join up with his new side ahead of the Club World Cup. Real Madrid fired Xabi Alonso in January though, and the Reds Academy graduate has been in and out of the starting 11, in part because of injuries. Alexander-Arnold has made just 24 appearances for Real Madrid so far this season. The 27-year-old has provided 5 assists in all competitions in that time. In his first season at the Bernabeu, Trent Alexander-Arnold has shown more weaknesses than strengths, especially defensively. Marca wrote in its verdict on the player this week, "He has played significantly more than Dani Carvajal, 1,382 minutes to 858, but that hasn't been enough to make England remember him," it added, referencing the fact that Thomas Tuchel appears set to leave him out of the Three Lions squad for the World Cup. Between injuries, doubts about Tuchel and the preference for Ben White and Tino Livramento, The English fullback for Real Madrid faces the final stretch of the season with a lot to prove in order for his national team coach to include him among the 26 World Cup players. I think it was crying out for that Trent-like quality in terms of that creation you need against Uruguay, against Japan. Steven Gerrard said during the March international break, you need someone who's going to be able to open the door, or someone off the bench who can come on and improve things if things are not going how you want them to. Tuchel opted to go with other options though, and earlier this month AS described Alexander-Arnold as the Achilles heel in the Real Madrid defence as it was eliminated in Europe, with former Liverpool teammate Luis Diaz impressing. He's too passive for Bayern Munich's opening goal, even if most of the blame lies with goalkeeper Andriy Lunin. And above all, he loses Harry Kane far too easily for the German second. It said, going forward, he was better, driving to the end line and delivering dangerous low crosses. His biggest issue remains defensive solidity. There was a theory that Alexander-Arnold would benefit from playing Spain when it comes to his defensive deficiencies. However, it doesn't appear to be playing out that way. The ex-Liverpool man was often criticised for being too slow to react defensively when he was at Anfield, though those accusations were often massively overblown. Liverpool news as Ibrahima, Konate and Dominik Szoboszlai give contract updates. Liverpool secured a morale-boosting Merseyside derby win over Everton, but off the pitch, there are two key contract updates to digest involving Ibrahima Konate and Dominik Szoboszlai. The 2025-26 campaign has not unfolded as Liverpool had anticipated, yet Arne Slot remains determined to hold his squad together. On that front, supporters have two compelling developments to digest at the start of the week. The Reds are in high spirits following their Merseyside derby victory over Everton on Sunday. Virgil van Dijk's last gasp winner marked a memorable beginning to the Hill Dickinson Stadium era in this fixture, while keeping Liverpool's prospects of a top 5 Premier League finish firmly on course. As the summer approaches, attention will gradually turn to next season and how best to rekindle the side's title-winning credentials. Here, Liverpool.com rounds up the latest news from Anfield as the Reds look to make a strong run to the end of the campaign. Konate closing in on new deal, just as it appeared increasingly likely that Ibrahima Konate would depart Anfield when his contract expires this summer. A fresh development has dramatically shifted the outlook. According to the player himself, director Richard Hughes may bear some responsibility for the delay in getting a deal over the line. Konate said this week, "My future? To be fair, there are many things people have said, but for a long time we have spoken with the club and we are close to an agreement. I think everyone wished for that for as long as possible, but we are in a good way. For sure, there is a big chance I'm here next season. This is what I always wanted. I'm waiting to sort the contract, but when everything is sorted, you will have to ask Richard what I said to him in September, November, and he's going to say something to make everyone quiet." Szoboszlai admits no progress. Less encouraging, however, is the latest update from Dominik Szoboszlai regarding his own contract situation. The former RB Leipzig midfielder, who is among the front runners for Liverpool's Player of the Season accolade, has revealed that neither he nor the club has taken any meaningful steps toward agreeing on an extension. Szoboszlai, 25, has just 2 years remaining on his current deal. With Real Madrid reportedly admiring the midfielder, Liverpool would be sensible to secure his commitment promptly to avoid a repeat of last season's drawn-out situation with Trent Alexander-Arnold, who ran down his contract to secure a move to Madrid last summer. As I said several weeks ago, there has been no real progression, said the Hungarian, so I cannot say anything new about my contract situation. We have a lot of games to go and I am focusing on that. As you guys maybe know, my contract ends in 2028, so I am ready to go every day, every week, and then let's see. Of course, I see myself here in the long term, but as I say, it is not really in my hands anymore. I love being here, as I've said many times. I love the fans, and I really like to be here. My family is happy. Let's see, I'm completely relaxed. We have 5 games to go. Then I am going to rest, a big one after my international break. Then we will see. Liverpool's dream squad for next season includes $81 million. Mohamed Salah successor. Liverpool has key areas of its squad to address before the 2026-27 season, with Adam Wharton among the transfer targets and a potential Mohamed Salah successor already being linked to Anfield Sunday's Merseyside derby triumph appears to have all but guaranteed Liverpool's place in next season's Champions League. That could prove transformative for the club's recruitment ambitions ahead of what is shaping up to be a huge summer window. Arne Slot already carries considerable pressure on his shoulders following a tough campaign. The Reds have fallen short of expectations in the aftermath of last summer's $600 million spend, with few anticipating a comparable level of investment this time round. But with Mohamed Salah leaving the club and Hugo Ekitike facing a prolonged injury absence, Liverpool is conscious of where its priorities lie. That said, recruitment needn't stop there, as Liverpool.com outlines what a dream squad could look like for next season. Wharton signs one name that is certain to capture the attention of Liverpool supporters is Adam Wharton. Manchester City and Manchester United have been credited with leading the chase for the midfielder for several weeks, yet it has now come to light that Liverpool has also entered the running. Real Madrid and Inter Milan have also been touted as potential destinations for the England international, though TalkSport has identified Liverpool as a fresh contender in the running. At 22, Wharton would almost certainly represent Slot's most costly acquisition of the summer should the deal go through, particularly given that midfield reinforcement is not currently the most urgent priority. But Wharton stands out as a top-quality replacement capable of thriving in that controlling playmaker role, easing the burden on those around him. And while there are other positions where considerable investment may be required, moving quickly to secure the Crystal Palace star now could prove to be an astute decision further down the line. Salah's heir, a significant gap looks set to emerge on Liverpool's right flank this summer. Salah has already confirmed his departure, placing immense pressure on whoever is selected to fill his shoes at Anfield. Expecting a direct replacement to replicate Salah's output would be unrealistic. However, bringing in Eli Junior Krupi from Bournemouth would give Liverpool a development prospect with outstanding potential to achieve comparable levels one day. The 19-year-old is classified as a striker or supporting forward, but Krupi regularly drifts out to the right flank to fashion chances. This trait was on display once more in Bournemouth's recent wins over Arsenal and Newcastle, scoring the opener against the former. Krupi wouldn't come cheap, as the Daily Mail claimed Manchester United, Chelsea and Spanish sides are keen. It's been suggested that the player is prepared to depart the Vitality Stadium but would still command a substantial £60 million, $81 million fee. Senesi strengthens defence. Liverpool has already moved swiftly to secure a defensive reinforcement ahead of the summer window. The January signing of Jeremy Jacquet from Rennes served as the clearest indication yet that changes to the back line could be forthcoming. With Virgil van Dijk expected to leave in 2027 and Joe Gomez's contract expiring at the same time, further additions will be necessary. Van Dijk has been a pillar of the Reds' defence for nearly 8 years, and the soon-to-be 35-year-old will leave a considerable void. Having already secured Jacquet, it would be prudent to bring in at least one more experienced yet cost-effective option to partner with him. With this in mind, departing Bournemouth defender Marcos Senesi could represent an astute signing. The three-cap Argentina international has been a dependable presence in Bournemouth's defensive unit since joining from Feyenoord in 2022. Slot will also be well acquainted with the quality of player he would be acquiring, given their earlier working relationship in Rotterdam. At 28, Senesi is slightly older than the typical profile Liverpool generally targets. That said, the funds saved through his Bosman status would offset much of the financial risk. A little more experience in the role could also prove crucial in hastening the development of 20-year-old Jacquet. Final dream 2026-27 squad. In summary, Liverpool faces losing at least Salah and Andy Robertson this summer, with Reece Williams and Calvin Ramsey also expected to depart. The signings of Senesi and Wharton would bolster Slot's options in defence and midfield, while Krupi could be the perfect addition to cushion the blow of Salah's departure. Liverpool injury latest, as 9 players now on Arne Slot's growing list. Liverpool was dealt a fresh injury blow during the Merseyside derby win over Everton, with Arne Slot confirming the Reds could be without up to 9 players for the upcoming Crystal Palace clash. At Anfield, Liverpool's injury concerns continue to mount following yet another setback sustained during Sunday's Premier League victory over Everton. Goalkeeper Georgi Mamardashvili was forced off in the second half of the Merseyside derby. Freddy Woodman, who started the campaign as Liverpool's third-choice stopper, stepped in as his replacement. At that point, the scoreline stood at 1-1 before Virgil van Dijk's 105th minute winner handed the Reds a vital 3 points in the battle for Champions League qualification. Arne Slot's men returned to action on Saturday when they welcomed Crystal Palace to Anfield. They enter the fixture sitting 5th in the Premier League standings, 7 points ahead of 6th place Chelsea. Ahead of the encounter, Liverpool must contend with what appears to be an ever-lengthening injury list, with the Reds potentially missing as many as 9 players. Here's the very latest from the treatment room. Georgi Mamardashvili, the Georgian shot stopper, was withdrawn during the second half of the Merseyside derby after picking up a knock during Everton's equalising goal. Slot confirmed after the final whistle that the keeper had been taken to the hospital, though the injury is not expected to sideline him for an extended period. He has gone off to hospital, he said. It looked to me, and that's also what they told me, that he had a big wound, an open wound. That's of course not going to be a long-term injury. Let's see if he is available for next week. We've had almost in all positions our problems, and now even 2 goalkeepers being out. So it's a good thing that we have 3 goalkeepers, because we usually don't have 3 fullbacks or 3 number 9s or 3 left wingers. And now it happens in a position where we have 3 players. The Athletic reports that Mamardashvili is anticipated to be sidelined for at least a fortnight with the injury. Hugo Ekitike, the striker, was withdrawn during the opening half of last week's Champions League encounter against Paris Saint-Germain. The club has subsequently confirmed that he will be absent for the rest of the campaign, having sustained an Achilles tendon rupture. He hasn't been operated on yet, Slot said. Devastating for him coming to a new club and having so much impact straight away. Alisson Becker, the goalkeeper's campaign has been disrupted by a hamstring problem. He experienced a recurrence in March. Slot has provided a vague indication of when Alisson might return to action. Towards the end of the season, we expect him to be fit, he said. Alisson himself has nevertheless offered a more positive outlook. I didn't suffer a new injury, he wrote on X. I'm in the treatment phase and the plan is to be in full playing condition by the end of April. Joe Gomez, the defender, was withdrawn against PSG last week, having come on at the interval. The exact issue is unknown, but Slot confirmed he wouldn't be available for the clash against Everton. Wataru Endo has been sidelined since February, sustaining an ankle injury in the Premier League fixture against Sunderland. He has subsequently had an operation and is progressing through his rehabilitation. He has established his own personal timeline for his comeback. Speaking at the beginning of the month, he said, "I'm hoping to play in the World Cup. My target is the last weekend of May. The national team has a game then against Iceland on May 31st, or we have a Champions League final. I hope we can make it. At least I have something to achieve. I'm motivated by that." Giovanni Leone, the young centre-back, sustained an ACL injury on his debut appearance in the Carabao Cup encounter with Southampton. He has since had an operation and is progressing with his rehabilitation, aiming to return at the beginning of next season. Stefan Bajcetic, a long-standing absentee, the midfielder is yet to feature at all this campaign. Speaking back in January, Slot said he's not training yet, so he constantly gets close to the team and then he has a little setback and then comes close and has a little setback. So we're hoping and expecting to have him very soon again. But at that moment of time, he trains with us again. Then he's been out for 6, 7, 8 months with no first team training. So as much as I'd like to have him back, we have to manage the expectations with him as well. Jadon Danns, the youngster, has been sidelined since sustaining an injury during a U21 fixture against Manchester City back in March. Providing an update, Slot said the good thing for him is that he's been out for such a long time and he's now getting back with the U21s, getting some playing time. But I think there's still a lot of steps to be made if you've not even played 90 minutes for the U21s, let alone then play a Premier League game. But the first thing that comes to my mind is that he's worked so hard. I know this because I've seen him around over here a lot to be where he is now. And he's also been so unlucky to be out for such a long time. I really like him to be back. But the reality is that he's not on the bench for us this weekend. Conor Bradley, the fullback, faces an extended spell on the sidelines after sustaining a knee injury in January. Having undergone surgery, he is now progressing through his rehabilitation programme. Jamie Carragher does not shy away from Rio Ferdinand feud with best ever dig. Jamie Carragher questioned Rio Ferdinand's career achievements as the best Premier League centre-back ever after footage of Dean Aston getting the better of the Manchester United defender was shown on Sky Sports. Liverpool icon Jamie Carragher cast doubt on whether Rio Ferdinand truly deserves the title of the greatest Premier League central defender of all time after Dean Aston once got the better of him. Aston, the former England striker, appeared as a guest on Sky Sports for Monday Night Football as his old club club West Ham face Crystal Palace at Selhurst Park. During the pre-match coverage, Sky broadcast footage of the striker's overhead kick against Manchester United. The clip emerged during their analysis of James Justin's goal for Leeds against Wolves at the weekend. Ashton netted that goal at Old Trafford after positioning himself goal side of Ferdinand, shrugging off the defender's physical challenge. "Get off, Rio," he remarked in the studio while watching back the footage. Carragher swiftly responded with a cheeky, sarcastic dig. "I thought he was the best centre-back in the Premier League ever." The former Liverpool defender has consistently maintained that Virgil van Dijk is the finest central defender in Premier League history. Carragher notably declared last year, following a Liverpool fixture at Anfield, he's too good for the highest level of football. It's almost like it's still too easy for him. It almost feels like there should be another level above that for Van Dijk because he plays the game with such ease. Fellow former defender Michael Dawson also bestowed the accolade of the Premier League's greatest upon Van Dijk at the time. Carragher further remarked, "You said before that he's the best centre-back in the Premier League. He is the best, but it's not even a debate. This nonsense about all the other defenders who are great defenders, and I've played with a lot of them, he's so far above it, it's a joke." Football is that easy for him. I've never seen a player at that ease, probably in any position, not just at centre-back. It's a walk in the park for him. Ferdinand, while still employed by BT Sport, placed himself at the top of his list of the 5 greatest centre-backs in Premier League history. While making his selections during an episode of Between the Lines alongside Van Dijk, he remarked, "I believe I'm number one, serious. I'm going number one straight away. That's how I thought. That's how I approach everything." Van Dijk also placed Ferdinand at the top of his own 5. He said, "You could also play in the modern day era. Back in the day, you were so important to the Man United team. All the English centre-backs in general looked up to you. You were an icon as a defender." Freddy Woodman details Arne Slot reaction versus Everton and why he didn't celebrate Liverpool winner. Freddie Woodman made his Premier League debut during the Merseyside derby against Everton, and he could step in for Liverpool again later this week versus Crystal Palace after Hugo Ekitike, Wataru Endo and Conor Bradley in recent months. Georgi Mamardashvili became the latest Liverpool player to leave the field on a stretcher this weekend, with Alisson Becker sidelined too. Arne Slot could only laugh when he was asked about the incredible misfortune with injuries that Liverpool has suffered this term. Fortunately, it is now well placed to get over the line in the Champions League race. With Mamardashvili needing treatment after the collision with Beto, he was sent to hospital, though the expectation is that it won't be a long-term issue. Slot turned to third choice Freddy Woodman. "It's a little nerve-wracking, to be honest," the 29-year-old told reporters after Liverpool's dramatic derby win. "But I think the nerves sort of fuel you to want to do well and not to let people down, really. You come on and you think about the 8 months that have gone past where you've worked every day really for this one moment. When you're called upon, you just want to be reliable. That's what it feels like. And to be honest, I was just happy to have to get over the line. Then to win it the way we did was incredible." Woodman is very highly thought of behind the scenes. His role is an important one, and he is under contract for another year at Anfield as things stand. Slot and the Liverpool locker room were delighted with the impact that Woodman was able to make at the Hill Dickinson Stadium. Slot just said that "I worked all season without getting, a lot of credit," Woodman explained, "but I'm happy with that. He was just happy for me and for me to shake his hand after the game. I felt like I'd done the best I can, and it is a nice moment because obviously he brought me to this football club. Did I ever think I was going to be playing for Liverpool in the Premier League? Probably not. But, when I'm called upon there, I just wanted to do my best." In truth, his Premier League debut couldn't have gone better. Woodman looked composed, made a decent save, kept a clean sheet and got a good view of Virgil van Dijk's late winner. "I was just right behind it," Woodman says. "I didn't want to celebrate, to be honest, because I knew there was still a minute left, and I actually watched the Tottenham game and saw the celebrations after Xavi Simons scored. I thought probably best not to. I didn't want to celebrate because I knew there was a minute left, and I just wanted to get the final whistle out of the way. But what a way to finish the game." Up to this point, an appearance in the League Cup against Crystal Palace aside, Woodman's role has been working with the goalkeepers behind the scenes. "It's easy here," Woodman admitted. Mo Salah is coming to you and saying he wants to do extra shooting. It's every kid's dream. For me, I've watched him over the last 7 to 8 years to build a relationship with Robbo, Curtis, Cody, Virgil. I saw these guys last season as superstars. You come in and you realise that they're just normal blokes and they're good people. It's been really nice to build those relationships. He is a great character, Van Dijk said. He is a big part of our group. It is never easy to be a third goalie, but for him to experience the things he experienced this season and still be so positive and working so hard, setting the right example each and every day and getting on the pitch today in the first Merseyside derby, Hill Dickinson, and show that calmness, made a great save. I'm pleased for him. Hopefully Georgie will be okay because we need everyone, but if not, then Freddie has to step up. And behind him, we have a very promising goalkeeper as well in Armin Pexi, who has done very well too. I take the mickey out of him a lot, and me and Freddie always have a laugh and a joke, but he's a credit to himself, Andy Robertson added. Since he has come in, he has been unbelievable. Whether that's Mo Salah wanting to stay out and take penalties an hour after training, Woody is the one that is out there, or whether it's running after the game as well. I've dragged him out after PSG and he got through it with the lads. He is always there for everyone and always there to support. These people in a club like this are so important. Maybe they don't always get the credit they deserve and get the limelight or things like that, but when he walked back in the changing room, he got a nice reception. If Mamardashvili is sidelined and Alisson isn't ready to play again, Slot said the Brazilian could return to training this week, but he may not be back for Saturday. Then Woodman could be in line for another appearance against Crystal Palace. It would be unreal, incredible to get another game in the Premier League. And for Liverpool, Woodman said, I grew up supporting Palace. I was a ball boy and played against them in the Carabao Cup this season. Hopefully, I want Georgie to be fine. And then Ali, the best goalkeeper in the world, I want him to come back fit. Listen, we will see what happens. I will just go about my stuff this week and prepare as if I am playing.